we will start with just some brief introductions. Jason.
My name's Jason. Nice to meet you. I commute regularly.
What bike you ride? And
I drive a Stromer ST5. I got it 2 years ago, and I think I'm at just shy of 3,000 miles.
Nice. Where do you commute to?
I go from Twin Peaks to 4th and King CalTrain every day. I take CalTrain down to Palo Alto. I do my shtick in Palo Alto. I jump back on CalTrain. I take the bike from 4th and King back to Twin Peaks in San Francisco. Next.
My name's Larry Stratton. I have a Focus Jam Square, which I use to commute via the Smart Train up to Rohnert Park. I live in Fairfax. I ride into San Rafael and take it up on the train and then go over to work when I get to Rohnert Park from there and just do the reverse on the way home. For me, I've been jonesing for the Smart Train for years. I've been driving to Rohnert Park for better than 30 years and figuring out how many miles I was. It was somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 times around the world in the damn car. So I was always waiting for that train to come. Finally, you know, the engines have to go back to Chicago, the tracks need to be polished. There's always some reason. Finally, the train came along, and so I started bicycling, regular bike to the train, and it was working out well, but there was that last little bit on the way home. It's just a real slight incline going up to Fairfax. Not a big deal, but after a long day of work and you have that onshore breeze every afternoon pushing you back, you're just like, hey, I could use a little help here. So I demoed a couple e-bikes. I would say that maybe it would come to mind, maybe a lot of folks here who are familiar with the different models would think, well, gee, the mountain bike really isn't the best commuter bike, but it's really, if you do sort of guerrilla commuting, it really does work out well, bouncing off the curbs and stuff.
I like it.
It's a lot of fun, and you know, when I don't have that long of a distance to go, it doesn't matter that another bike could do maybe 10 miles an hour faster than me because I'm going fast enough as it is. So it's been a blast. I'd also point out that I've commuted to San Francisco on the ferry with that bike. I saw on the ferry's website that there was some prohibition about electric bikes, but I asked in person to the guy who loads the bicycles up on the ferry, and he said, yeah, no problem. So next time I was up for a week to the city, I did that. I would say if you commute, why wouldn't you? If you could put an electric bike into the mix, why wouldn't you? Because it's so liberating. It's not to be in the car, get around the traffic and get a little exercise and a little fresh air in the process. It's been a really good experience for me. And I was counting the other day, and I haven't been doing this that long. It's only been about 2 months, but the other day I was looking thinking, gee, you know, I haven't been in or driven a car in 11 days, which was great.
George.
I'm George. I live in San Rafael, but I have an office in San Francisco and in Oakland. I'm actually relatively new to the e-biking thing. I was a road rider for many, many years, and I commuted on my road bike. I'd take the ferry if I was tired coming back, or I'd take the bus. But I got really busy at work, and I got out of shape. And so then I discovered the e-bike. And so a few months ago, I bought a ST1 Stromer on eBay for like $1,700. Total bargain. And like Marcus and Jason, I was going to get the ST2, but then I heard about the ST5, so I pre-ordered the ST5, and I've been told that I'm the first, person that's going to get the ST5 in Marin. So that's my distinction. Thank you. E-biking is just it's changed my life. I mean, it's not just about commuting. I think it's about a lifestyle. I think it's about a way of life, and you can make it happen with a little preparation. So, it's just like packing things ahead of time, figuring out, what you need to bring, where you got to be. I have a Clipper card, I take the ferry, I'll do BART, I'll do the bus, whatever it takes, because, as you might know, we can't ride our bikes on the Richmond Bridge yet. Hopefully that's going to change later this year. So, throw my bike on the bike rack, drive across Richmond Bridge, park on the other side, then I just, flat shot to my work office in Oakland, or throw the bike on the bus and do that. So it's got to do some, modifications, some adaptations, but it's totally 100% doable. And I have been car free just about for 2 weeks. So, all right.
Alyssa. My name is Alyssa, and I live in San Francisco, and I have a short but very hilly commute from Potrero Hill down to the Bayview. So it used to be that I would bike, before I got my e-bike in December, I would bike to work, and then I would just walk my bike home. And when I got an e-bike, that all changed. I can bike both ways, and it's been awesome.
Great. Marcus, I have an ST2. About a year ago, I bought it. Actually, be a year end of this month. Which is also marks the full year of not having a car, which is part of the design. So I live in Tiburon. I've got 2 little kids, my wife, and we live there. And so I go from Tiburon into the city and one in Embarcadero. And after 8 years of commuting down to Mountain View, I finally got to work in the city. It makes sense because we moved to Marin and we never decided to leave. Like, oh, finally, this worked out. And I promised myself never to get into a car, at least for 1 year, see if it's even possible. And did that. And I looked at every option, from the ferry to the bus to, getting an electric car, and just looked at everything, the cost as well as just convenience, expense, obviously health, environmental conditions. And from my house to the office in one Embarcadero is 50 minutes door to door. Frankly, there's just nothing faster, I'm honest, because even the ferry, if you take the shuttle to the ferry, there's a fixed schedule to work for my life, and then, of course, the time coming back, which sometimes late night evenings, I ride home, which is, by the way, a very cool function. If you guys don't know, you get like the whole bridge to yourself. I had no idea this was even a thing. I'm like, holy cow, I get there like 11 o'clock one night, went to the bars, I'm like, I'm driving, this is ridiculous. And the gate opens, and there's a guy opening it up. You push a button, and sure enough, it opens, and you got the whole bridge to yourself. And you have these moments where you're thinking, this is alternative. I'm doing something contra-cyclical what everyone else is doing. So I think that the term lifestyle has been thrown out. It is. It's really not a bike. I don't kid myself. I'm not on spandex out blowing past people thinking I'm a better cyclist. All right, I'm not that guy. But when you're in your jeans and you got your work clothes on and you go to work, and it's a vehicle. It's no longer a bike. It's an alternative. So in the 9 months I've had the actual riding, I've done over just about 4,000 miles as of today. And I think next year, as I work more, it'll be closer to 6,000 to 7,000 miles. And it's been not only the health benefit, but the flexibility has been better than you think it would be. You can park where you want to, go where you want to. The infrastructure's not bad going from Tiburon into the city. There's maybe about a mile or two where it's a little hairy. You're showing a tight shoulder. But the rest of the time, it's pretty much a smooth bike ride. And ironically, one of the other side benefits of being outside a car is, not even ironic, it's very social. I pull a whole bunch of guys on their road bikes every morning. I know them now, so I shoot the guns. I'm like, hey, there he is. There's the guy we all tuck in behind, which is kind of funny. So I get free coffee out of that deal in the morning. This is really cool. We pull off. The smells, I know that shop owners, it's taken a drudgery and made it an exercise, which is sort of involuntary, you don't think of it that way, as well as a real social event. So it's been, all in all, an amazing experience.
Getting rid of the spandex is a change.
Yeah.
You can blow by people in your jeans.
That's right.
Like, that's the difference.
I've done it with coffee in my hand. You're like, yeah, I know.
Oh, you've got the coffee? Okay, that's even better.
So one of the things that strikes me that basically all of you kind of touch on in one way or another is, I think the ways in which integrating an e-bike into the way that you commute introduces a kind of a level of creativity in terms of mode share between different types of transportations. We've got train and bike, we got car and bike, we've got bike and walking, we've got all sorts of different combination things. Boat, yep. That creativity, I think, creeps into just the life of the mind, in my experience, that happens when you have the opportunity to ride a bike every day instead of other ways of getting around that maybe are less creative. Can any of you speak to the experience of any part of the creative experience of riding an electric bike?
I can tell you about one thing that I created. You heard it here first, folks. Well, a little background. I had a stroke better than a year ago on Mount Tam, and I was left paralyzed on the left side of my body. Staying organized with things was really a challenge. I'd have my wallet, have my Clipper card in the wallet. The wallet was in the backpack, and which pouch was in the backpack, and where were the glasses, and go through this. So you got to get on the train. You have to pull out the card and swipe the card, and then when you get on the train, you have to have the card ready for the conductor. And then you have to swipe again when you get off the train. So I invented creatively the slipper clipper, which was a piece of compression sock that I had from when I broke a leg, and I folded it over and put the clipper card inside. Eventually it's going to be sewn up or Velcroed or something, but I just stapled it. So now I drive up the ramp, zip, I'm on. The conductor comes down, boom, I'm on. Not like, where's the backpack? It's really simplified my life a lot.
Yeah, there's all sorts of little troubleshooting solutions one finds. I get the wind in my ears drives me crazy, and so I have these little wind cozies for my ears.
I find that I go so fast on my e-bike that the strap on my helmet starts whipping me in the cheek. Does anyone have a solution for that? Like a rubber band or something that you could... Yeah, I haven't had that happen. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, wait.
Here's the answer to the question
Here's the
you
answer.
asked. So, you look like Elvis with massive sideburns, but you look great. But these are called cat ears, I think. You can see these little additions here. Like when you have a microphone, you put a windscreen on your microphone so that it doesn't get wind noise? It's the exact same principle. Except instead you're putting them on the strap, and so then you reduce/eliminate, depending on just how windy it is, from hitting your ear. And what's really interesting, let's say you have one earbud in, for instance, right? Maybe for directions as an example. Now you can hear Siri, you can hear the Google lady talk to you way easier. So not only do you eliminate the slapping your face, you also now reduce the wind. Yeah, that's my answer to that.
Okay.
That's how I've solved that. Because that's the thing with e-bikes, you're going faster.
Right.
And so you've got the wind in your ear, and so you do have to take that into consideration, because you're going across the bridge, right? And the wind, and you're going e-bike speed, you get a lot of wind. Yeah, this helps.
My friends complain, I can't hear what you're saying. I literally cannot hear you. You need to just stop so we can have a conversation. So, okay. Good.
What has been the most unlikely benefit of or surprising benefit of riding an e-bike, whether it's been for 3 years or 3 months?
I have a fast answer, and then I'll pass it down. Riding the e-bike as a commuter tool is genuinely, for me, the fastest mode of transportation. If I want to get to the office and we were to say, hey, Jason, you can use any mode of transportation, the only thing you have to do is get there the fastest humanly possible. Actually, the e-bike is the answer to that. Because if I take a car, I'm sitting on just ridiculous traffic, right? If I'm walking, well, that's not going to go faster than the e-bike. The e-bike genuinely gets me from A to B in the city life faster than any other mode of transportation that there is. And so for me, that's the primary benefit, actually, is the way I first discovered this e-bike world was I was researching how do I go from A to B as effectively as possible and efficiently as possible, and turns out e-bikes were the answer. And I was like, oh, this is great, and I'm outside, and it smells good, and I'm meeting all these cool people. Yeah,
think about it, because in the city, traffic has just gotten so bad, right? I mean, is it all the Lyfts and Ubers? Who knows? And you can see with the explosion of e-scooters, e-bikes, these grab and go kind of modes of transport, there's definitely a demand and a need to reduce congestion. And so I my commute's pretty long. I guess the surprising thing for me is the fact that I can actually do it. Because on my road bike, riding 20 miles each way, I can't do it. I just can't. But with an e-bike, it gives me just enough assist so that I'm not completely wiped out, after day 3. So that's been really a game changer for my life.
Yeah, I want to just echo everything about how much time you save. I had a few months ago, I got home from work and I was supposed to meet a friend for dinner at 7 in Hayes Valley. I live in Potrero Hill. And I realized that there was an engagement party at a bar that I was supposed to be at, and then it was already 6:15, and I was like, how am I going to go to the engagement party and get to my friend's dinner? And I was able to do it all. It took me 7 minutes to bike to Hayes Valley from Potrero Hill, and I had 15 minutes at the engagement party. It all worked out great. But I never could have done that in a car, because you have to be in traffic, and you have to find parking, and opens up a lot of possibility.
Parking is
Oh my
huge.
God.
Yeah.
It's expensive and it's inconvenient.
One surprise was the utility of the bike. So I'm driving home one day and I got a text from my wife, oh, are you going past Safeway by any chance? Oh, yeah, I'll pick up a couple of things, and that seemed to work out, all right? And all of a sudden the next week, oh, by the way, can you grab this many more things on your bike? So now I've got these big panniers, so now I'm part of the commuting process, because we have 2 kids, right? So I always thought, well, if I had a bike, because I was determined to not have a car for a year, how hard is this going to be? My wife has a bike. But you know, when you have the electric power, you forget how much actual load you can carry on. Like, I have strapped more stuff to that. I'm sure I've gone way out of spec for that fender, right? That thing. I've had stuff strapped to the top of it. I've gone to the. I had one picture, I should have brought it, where I've got the bike at the hardware store. Truck bike, right? And there was just me, and I had all this stuff slapped onto it, and hammer, wood piled on the back.
You gotta send us that picture.
Yeah, I should have brought that, but you forget the utility of it, you know, and it's now become part of my wife's routine. Oh, by the way, if you figure out something, go pick it up. So getting 2 full-size bags, grocery bags.
Yeah, I got the same. I think we all have the same panniers or waterproof. So that
Right.
what demonstrated that for me was I did a Costco run on my e-bike, and like that's unheard of, right? Because you're like Costco, you're like, oh, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy this. Those panniers can hold a yeah, right. But couldn't get the toilet paper. That was the only thing. That was the exception. I guess I could have strapped it to
You
my
need
back.
a cargo bike.
You need a cargo bike. But I was really impressed with this market. Like how much stuff you can haul, and you've got the power to haul it. So it's not like you're struggling, you know, on your regular bike to carry all this stuff. The motor like just makes it so much easier.
If there are folks out there that are wondering, like, okay, just how much can you really carry on your e-bike? As an example, because I think we all have these, so it would be fun to riff. For me, I remember the moment where I was like, oh my God, I just did that on an e-bike. It was a dwarf lemon tree. We went to Lowe's and we were going to buy some garden stuff for the balcony, and we were like, yeah, we could do this. Like with enough bungee cords, we can totally do this. And next thing you know, I got this great video of us going up Cortland, actually, near the other bike shop, with a dwarf lemon tree on the back of a Gazelle Arroyo, and it totally worked. You get home and you're like, that was amazing.
We should do like a standard wheelbase cargo challenge.
Yeah.
Because I think as a commuter, you know, well, I have a regular size bike, but I can carry all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's why any e-bike is a cargo bike. You just make it into what you want it or need it to be. It's really kind of an amazing thing. I wonder, can we go down the line? The question is, do you consider yourself a cyclist? Like when you talk to your friends at a dinner party, are you describing yourself as a cyclist? Or how do you describe what you do on a bike?
Sorry, look at me. Okay, sure.
Yeah,
I'll start.
sure, Marcus, please, thank you.
I don't. I'm sure we all have stories about going past people on bicycles, and there's a tension. You do kind of feel it. Some people care, some people don't. Most.
I need therapy for that. Actually.
Yeah, because it's kind of weird. Right? If you couch it as I'm on my bike, there's one less car on the road, and I'm doing what I think is healthy, I've never gotten an attitude problem. But I do talk about commuting rather than being a cyclist. I do think it creates some sort of weird energy generally, and it's never been a problem before. But I do think of it as a utility, probably. Although, if I'm honest, I enjoy it probably more than I should. So I get the best of it.
I've never considered myself a cyclist. I really like biking, but there's like a lot of things about biking that always felt hard as an amateur. Like the bike lock is really heavy and I didn't want to carry it, or my bike light was always out and I just wasn't quite organized enough to be a true cyclist. But having an e-bike, I still don't consider myself a cyclist per se, but it's really changed how I can get on a bike, and I charge the battery on the bike, the lights automatically go on, so I don't have to worry about it. And I can put the bike lock in the panniers and you can carry so much more. So I still don't consider myself a cyclist per se, but it's made it a lot more feasible.
I would say I did or do consider myself a cyclist. I had a nice road bike. I go on weekend rides. I rode the Marin Century once. And so now am I still a cyclist if I have an e-bike? That's a good question. Because I do, when I pass those guys going up Alexander, I just fly by these guys that are in way better shape than me. And I have a little guilt. And like I said, I think I need therapy to kind of deal with that because it is cheating in a way. But on the other hand, like you said, I'm not cycling. I'm trying to get to work as quickly as possible in an efficient way where I'm not sweating bullets, right? So
if you're on
I don't know.
Stromer,
I guess I am, and I guess I am not.
I think it's only cheating if you've done it the other way, the unassisted way. For me, sort of the big surprise was that I was able to get back on the mountain after having some heart issues and whatever. I kind of stopped mountain biking, which I'd been doing for quite a few years. And the Focus Jam Squared has gotten me back up on the mountain, which is a good thing. It's contributed to my overall physical well-being. And the other surprise, I would say, is that it's very liberating from the commuting viewpoint. Just not to have to get in the car and to be able to do it. So there was another part to your question. I realized I slipped back to your earlier question. The most latest question was,
are you a cyclist?
If you describe yourself as a cyclist.
Of sorts. I own 3 motorcycles, so in that sense, I'm a cyclist. And I was a mountain biker, as I said before. Things just started to fall apart for me. And as a kid, I'd be building little mini bikes and mountain bikes and stuff like that. So when mountain bikes first came out, I thought, gee, these are really great. It means that I can keep doing this and become an old man. Because they were like, oh, this is just like when I was a kid. Oh, this is an activity I can just keep doing, you know. So yeah, I guess in that sense, yes, I'm a cyclist.
Do you belong to the Marin County Bicycle?
I gave them $5 and they gave me a beer. Does that mean I'm part of
You're on the way.
You're close.
You drank their
Not
beer,
quite.
so
You
you drink their
the
beer,
Kool-Aid.
you're part of it. So
no, I'm not, but I'm...
We'll get you the rest of the way by the end of the 2 more beers, and you'll be signed up for sure.
yeah.
I would not. So when you ask me if I'm a cyclist, I have a mental image of do I wear spandex? Is what the actual question is.
Right.
And the answer is no, I never have. And in fact, if you ask, like as a child, my parents used to make fun of me because when I had like a summer job or like an internship or just out of college or even in college, my bike was always getting stolen, like constantly. So I was not allowed to have a bike of any value because it was guaranteed to be gone by the end of the year. Kind of like how people lose sunglasses, I apparently lost bicycles. And so that was why e-bikes were so like out of left field, I think, for everybody in my social circle. They were like, you're going to get an electric bike? Like, what? I was like, no, I totally am, because I think if I'm not a cyclist, what I really am at my core is somebody who likes to save money. And so if you show me a path to saving a buck, I'm going, yes. And that was where the e-bike road, like, oh, this makes a lot of sense, actually. Like, this is great. I'm going to get to the office fast and cheap.
Yeah, for me,
I eat breakfast.
like, there's tolls, there's upkeep, gas.
Oh,
gas
the maintenance?
is crazy. Yeah, the
It's
maintenance.
so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just curious. Will you
Yeah,
raise
who
your
asked that?
hand?
How much is insurance on an e-bike, right? Nothing.
Will you raise your hand if
Ish.
you belong to the bike coalition in your area? Curious. I was just wondering.
Okay, we'll get the rest of you by the end.
Yeah. From an infrastructure perspective, what are you missing?
A great question, and I'm glad you asked this. So, you know how like you've got a phone and you got to charge it because at the end of the day your battery's gone. It's like, oh, I got to find a. You go to SFO, right? There's an iPhone charger, there's an Android charger, there's a whatever. It would be great if e-bikes could just plug into an outlet, and we wouldn't have all these different charging protocols and chargers. That would be great to just be able to plug in just
a cable.
Just the AC outlet. That would be great. Anything.
Well, that's what blows my mind, is that we're sitting on an electric platform, right? We now have a solid amount of electricity available to you, assuming you're not draining your battery every day. There seems like so much potential in all of that electricity on my bike that it's not charging my phone while I'm riding the bicycle.
Your bike is.
Yeah, the
No,
Stromer.
the ST2's USB port, if you're doing a GPS / it's only like a 2.5
Not
amp.
enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the USB is not pumping.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not an electrician, but I know that the
Not
battery's
enough
still
output.
draining.
There's got to be a hack for that. I'm sure you can figure that out.
I bricked my Stromer. Protected bike lanes
from a
is the other
technological
answer.
standpoint, we've talked about, more of the conveniences that we all
Turn
want,
signals.
like turn signals and anti-theft, and we've got lights, which is a huge boon. But you know what I really want now that I have like a kid and I'm busy and I'm just like, I want like an automatic, I want a CO2 cartridge like on my bike that just fills my tires during the month and I never have to think about it.
Because we have electricity and you could set a timer on that.
It'd be so awesome. By the way, I don't consider myself a cyclist.
No.
No. Do I look like it?
What bike did you have before?
Super cyclist.
Stromer? Okay.
Yeah, I like to go fast. Fast is good. Yeah.
That was how I ended with Stromer.
What?
A to B as fast as possible.
A to B as fast as possible. Stromer. The one.
The three Kawasaki's take me fast enough.
Gosh.
Questions
Well,
from the
yeah, I think we should open it up to you guys. Mister.
I had a question, probably for Larry, but the e-bikes weigh a lot more, and do you have a problem with the hanging racks on the ferry and on the smart rail?
Yes.
Yeah.
On the ferry there. on the train.
The question was, the e-bikes weigh more. And so do you have an issue with the hanging racks on the ferry? And Larry's answer, I think, was yes.
Yeah, on the train at least, there's places where you don't have to hang them. You just park them by some fold-up seats. They have some bungees right there, and you just bungee them up. That being said, it's getting can be crowded on the train sometimes, so you need to coordinate with your fellow non-bicyclists, like where you're getting off, so whose bikes get stacked up. But at least for me, the jam squared is too heavy to try to hang on the hook on the train. Same thing happened on the first ferry I went, but on the second ferry there weren't even any hooks. There was just this like little patio closet. Everybody's just throwing their bikes in there, so it wasn't a problem. I would not discount getting an e-bike because of concerns about hanging stuff up, because there's other avenues.
It's weird. You find a way.
Yeah, so I'd say on some of the ferries they have the hanging hooks. On other ferries they just line them up. So it really depends. I'd say
Like Sausalito's easy.
Right, and so then
No, Sausalito's not easy.
No?
Sausalito's bad. Don't ever take Sausalito. Larkspur's awesome.
One of them.
The reason the rule on Golden Gate Transit's website says no e-bikes on ferries is because of the Sausalito ferry. Because in order to disembark, you have to go down the stairs in Sausalito or up the stairs in San Francisco. And those stairs are really steep and treacherous, and so they don't allow e-bikes on those ferries. They do allow them on the Larkspur ferries, which do not. I'm sorry, and Tiburon.
They do the Tiburon one as well,
because there's no stairs involved.
They do. No, they actually have stairs on the Tiburon one as well.
They do.
That's what.
They're just friendly over there.
They're just friendly people over
Sausalitans.
there.
I'm from there. Bad people.
But one recommendation, if you are concerned about weight and you do have to do a ramp, the Stromer, I don't know if they all have this, has that walking assist function. So in other words, if you're going up, that little ramp when you go up the ferries, you can push it up. Well, those folks that don't have it on e-bikes are really struggling. And so the Stromer, and you just look at it as a feature if it's important to you. It has a button where it has a walking feature, and you push it, throttle it, and it actually will push the bike up for you. And then it's feather light.
That works on stairs too.
Yeah, exactly. So if that's important, look at that feature. You might
Sad
find it
news.
important.
They actually just discontinued that feature.
Oh, you're kidding?
No, I was talking to the guy earlier today.
Great feature.
No, the boost. The boost is, they're not doing
Walk
boost
assist?
on ST5.
Walk assist work.
Oh,
To be clear, yeah, it does.
okay.
the other thing about the
I'm 90. Hey, Stromer. Matt from Stromer.
let's get the authority up here.
I know they discontinued the boost, the 14-mile-an-hour boost. Did they discontinue the walk throttle too?
No.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Really good feature.
Corrected.
Really good.
That wasn't
Matt knows.
It works.
Matt knows.
So wait, just another point. So so some of the ferries have you don't have to hang it. BART, of course, has bike cars where there's plenty of room to park it. The Smart Train does have hanging, but also there's a section towards the snack bar where you can just stand it up regularly. You just have to get in there. And then, right. And then, so Golden Gate Transit buses say that you can't put an e-bike on the front rack, but I've done it and they haven't checked, and I we can't figure out what the reason is, whether it's the weight or whether they're afraid the lithium-ion batteries are going to explode. I mean, we have no idea why they're prohibited. It doesn't make sense to me, and maybe we could look into that.
So, I mean, it's so interesting because, like, as a commuter, you get this really, like, hacky mindset. You're like, ooh, how am I going to figure out how to do this? Because, A, I know there's a way to do it. B, I need to do it. So let's get it done, right? Then the next piece of it is helping our local representatives and the people who provide our resources to us, help them understand what this is and what the potential is and who we are as users, right, and what we need. And so working with GGT is a big one.
Yep.
We've been in communication with them a lot more now that we're neighbors here, and just slowly trying to help that stuff change, writing letters to BART about bicycle parking, telling CalTrain how much you love the CalTrain parking. All this stuff, like being vocal users, is going to be the difference between continuing to have the same infrastructure that we have and seeing that really grow. And actually, the reason I asked the question about the cyclist question is that I think it's really important because we have these organizations called Bicycle Coalition who have varying degrees of understanding of who their new constituents are. And it's very interesting to me that I don't think even remotely half of our customers belong to the Bicycle Coalition because they don't see themselves as cyclists. And because they are not, the language is different. And so this is part of, I think, why we wanted to have Super Bicycle and why we wanted to get all of us together to talk and to be like, hey, what is your experience out there?
That's a great point, Karen, because I think certainly we have many of the same concerns in regards to infrastructure, accessibility that regular cyclists have. But for me, like, to give an example, I never paid attention to the elevators on BART stations. Like, why would I care?
Oh my
now,
God,
when I got a
do
70-pound bike, I'm not going to take that thing up the escalator or the stairs. Like, where is the elevator?
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh my God, it's not working. Oh my God, they need, it doesn't smell very nice. Right?
Yeah. Okay, so on New Year's Eve, we were taking our cargo bike and our baby down the elevator in BART. And we ran into the really sweet kid who we started to talk to, who is a kid, he's like probably 18, and is cleaning the BART station. We started talking like, hey, thank you for doing this work. Like, you're the best. And he's like, oh, you're welcome. Happy New Year. Somehow we started talking. He's the only person cleaning the entire Embarcadero station. No, Civic Center station all night.
Wow.
All of a sudden you're like, this stuff really matters to you. So you get home and you like write an email like, what the heck, guys? Like, you've got one person cleaning the entire station. A, he's lonely and sad. B, he's got a really hard job. C, we need more of it. Right? And so that's a different way of engaging with your city, of engaging with your environment and the other people who work and live there. And to me, that's really fun. And it turns out that they're increasing the cleaning and the kind of maintenance of the elevators massively in the next few months in BART. Not because of anything I did, but...
Well, they actually have elevator attendants now, manning the elevators, which I think makes sense. Because they get pretty crowded and they got to manage the flow of passengers. So
Yeah.
I think they are making an effort.
Yeah, it's great. Any other...
we got a question.
Great.
When you're going from a regular bike to the commuter bike, maybe a question for George, how is getting used to that extra weight?
The question is, when you go from a regular bike to an e-bike, commuter bike, how do you get used to the weight? Well, when you've got pedal assist, you really don't notice it when you're riding at all. So even on the lowest level assist, it feels like a regular bike from a speed powered aspect. In terms of the weight itself, it's maybe even a more stable ride. The only time you really notice it, I think, is when you're pushing the bike around, say going into an elevator, maybe pushing it into my office. But in terms of when you're actually riding the bike, there really isn't a whole lot of difference in my mind when you've got some pedal assist. And any other
one comment to that too, real quick though, is we've talked about the negative of the weight, but there's a huge positive to that weight. I mean, when I go across the bridge, or I'm going Marina Green, or I've got wind coming on the side, everyone's getting blown around. I am dead tracking, I got to tell you. So absolutely, when you're in motion, you don't feel it. The dynamics offset each other beautifully. It's balanced. But the wind, it's almost like a motorcycle. You just aren't getting blown around. I go around the towers, you go around the towers on the bridge, and everyone gets knocked over. You're stable. So frankly, other than the non-assisted mobility, that stuff is hard. But other than that, it's an advantage, I think.
When you're pedaling it, how is the experience of doing that versus riding a regular bike? Does it feel similar?
Easier.
Or what?
You just feel like you got stronger legs.
What was the question?
Yeah, it's like
when you're riding. What is the sensation of riding an electric bike versus
the
a
fastest
regular
answer
bike?
is you should totally go take a test drive, and then the
Yeah.
second answer,
Find out
because
yourself.
there's no words to describe this other than like, oh wow, I just went 5 times farther for the same effort.
Yeah.
Like that was cool.
Back to your comment about weight, I have a couple things. There's one for the mountain bike. It's you have to exercise a little more control coming downhill because of that extra mass. It wants to go downhill, and if you're on a cambered trail, that's still downhill sideways off the mountain. So you have to exercise a little more control there. The other thing I would say, this for just particular to me, is because of my stroke and my weakness on the one side. When I come to a stop, I have to be able to put my feet down, and I can't get my one leg over the top. I can't lift high enough over the seat. I have the dropper seat, so I'm learning to use that consistently. But that weight, although when you're riding it, as everybody said, you don't notice that the weight is there. That bike will take you down if you're not planted on the ground.
I'd say like most of the bikes here are pedal assist, so you have to initiate the effort to pedal. And then what's different is the amount of assist. So you can have 0 assist or maximum assist. So it's augmenting and enhancing your effort. So it's like somebody giving you that extra boost. It's like being Superman. Really,
I have a question here. Does anybody here, except for max boost, anybody here use?
No, all max all the time, literally
all the time.
Yeah.
I'm always surprised. I would love to know if somebody doesn't and why, because that always blows my mind.
I think part of it may be guilt.
I totally do.
Part may be guilt, but usually I'm commuting and I want to get to work really quickly, so it's up all the way.
I get geeky though. Did you get geeky though? Like when you had a Prius, you hypermile? Yeah. I hypermile. I'm that guy. Like, hey, how far exactly can I go on this thing?
Well, if I'm going down a big hill, I'll put it in regen just to do it.
I mean, I think, my experience is that sometimes high assist is too much. That, like, you do want to turn it down just because, well, either if you're cold and you want to, like, work up some body heat, or you just want to get some exercise, or you're in traffic. Yep, you don't want to accelerate too quickly, but if you're in,
because you're just making aggressive around bus turns like a bad idea.
Yeah, so Phoebe's point is if you're in traffic and there's a lot of stop and go, it's actually you have better control over the bike in a lower level of assist really often than you do in turbo, unless of course you're going straight up a hill and there's a lot of traffic, then it's fun to
But I will say, if you're in stop and go traffic and you're trying to catch that light before it turns yellow, that maxes. I mean, you can go 0 to 20 miles an hour in like 3 seconds.
That's true, especially on a Stromer.
But there's a super important point though, and it's kind of augmenting what was said. And I wouldn't want to lose this if you haven't ridden one of these before. There is a risk because nobody understands other than e-bikers what an e-bike can do. And so I think one of the dangers of we got to be honest about this stuff. And one of the dangers of the speed is cars don't expect you to be as fast as you are.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because everyone has a rhythm when you drive, right?
Have you been in an accident so far?
I haven't been in an accident, no. And it's been close. But usually it's because they don't expect you to be next to them. I can accelerate off the line as fast as a lot of cars. And, they just assume they've blown past you, so they're not even going to bother looking in the rearview mirror. So one of the things about riding differently is you got to almost be like a hybrid between a motorcycle and a bicycle and assume that the drivers don't expect you to be where you are because you're just that much faster than they used to expecting a bicycle to be. And
that
so you get run off the road quite a bit.
Yeah.
So be careful.
And with other bicyclists, honestly. I mean, I think that it's more, for me, it's more of an issue with other bicyclists because cars, I see them as a problem. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm going to steer clear of you. We've got an understanding of you're going to kill me and I don't want to die. And so I'm going to be really careful. Other cyclists, you can surprise them. You can piss them off. There's all sorts of dynamics that can happen. And so I find it's really, really fun, actually, to kind of challenge myself to just, like, have a good dynamic with the people that I pass and be like,
how do you
something funny.
What's the best way to handle that? Because I haven't gotten to that point. Like, so when you're passing somebody, and I try to say, hi, how's it going, what's up?
I always wait.
It's the motorcycle. It's like the thing.
You give them that little okay, got you, we're cool, and 9 times out of 10 that seems to work as long as you acknowledge.
And then I shout, "It's the new wheel! That's how you get this speed."
I just shout, "Hey, it's an e-bike. Don't worry." Yeah.
Not that far.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a call cost. Yeah.
Number 2, what do you guys do when you're off work? Do you ever ride your bike?
Yeah, if I have to
The question is, what do you do?
Yeah, the question is, what
do you
when you're
do
not
things
commuting?
after work on your bike?
When we're not commuting?
Yeah.
I mean, to run errands all the time. Run to the grocery store. Yeah. No, well, that's the thing. That's where the guilt part comes in, because I have this really nice road bike. I don't think I've touched it in 2 months. It doesn't have cobwebs yet, but it's like, should I be riding a regular bike? But it's so much fun to ride the Stromer. Oh no, but it's a nice road, so that's a good question. Maybe I should go back and just try the road bike to see what it's like. I think I've forgotten.
That's the interesting thing, though, Paul. The question is, I think, is how fitness sneaks up on you doing this. It's one of those things, like, after a while, it's just commuting, and you realize, wow, my heart rate's actually kind of pegged the whole time. I've lost 20-something pounds in a year. I haven't done anything different. Just been on a bike and not in a car. I've done nothing different, Went to the doctor 2 months ago. I got this glowing, the best health physical I've gotten in years. Oh, my God, every marker is exactly where it should be. And then you realize something, it just sort of happens, like, wow, I exercise 2 hours a day without even thinking about it. That's something I would have been sedentary, and now it's not like I don't even think I'm riding my bike, I'm just commuting. It's not like I'm doing an exercise, but I forget that I'm burning calories and I'm doing all these things. So it fits in now. You've swapped out a commute for exercise. In a busy day, that's a pretty nice thing to come out. So yeah, you do it for fun, but you also end up getting all these sort of ancillary, sneaky benefits that are pretty darn awesome.
I ride mine outside of commute when I can. Yeah. Well, I go up on Cam. I live in Fairfax. And go up 5 corners and then up Saucony. Right around there.
Any of you live in the city? Okay, what do you do to lock them up so they don't get stolen?
The question is, what do you do to prevent your e-bike from getting stolen?
I use a U-block and a chain, and try not to lock it in where I think it may go.
So
Just everywhere.
I don't leave mine locked outdoors overnight. Other than that, I will lock my bike outside with no hesitation.
But if you're going just for errands and you're at the grocery store,
Oh yeah, Molly Stone's on 18th and Castro. That sucker's parked out there once an afternoon on my way back from work, and run in, grab the milk, grab the bread, pop back out. Yeah, it's no issue. It's really in the city. Actually, this is actually the counterfactual to this is, where do you park? And if it's not a bicycle, right? So let's say it's a car. I find the. Oh no, that's. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Karen's got an answer.
I'll tell you, I had a foldable bike, a Breezer, and I was running an errand, went to the bank, locked the bike with a cable lock, went in, cashed my check or whatever, came out, it was gone. And then I went into the bank and complained to the manager. I was like, oh yeah, it happens all the time. We'll check the security camera footage. But you could have just brought your bike into the bank. I'm like, thanks. So it's definitely an issue. I know the Stromer that I ordered has a GPS tracker, which gives me a little bit more peace of mind. But it's a huge problem. But so car break-ins are a huge problem. It's life in the city.
Just like anything, there's different technology and locks. And there is excellent locking technology. There's a company that we sell a lot of. There's a very specific lock in San Francisco that we recommend. That is the only lock that we know of that will really keep your bike in one place. It's made by a German company named Abbas. For a long time, we had a folding lock that has done an excellent job for us. It's called the X-Class Bordeaux. It has a downside with our recent spike in crafty thievery, which is that for those thieves that have cutting instruments, it only needs to be cut once. And that proved to be a real problem because you cut it once and then you got the bike. There is a selection of 3 U-locks that cannot be cut open with one cut and are very difficult to cut through. We don't know of any reports of bikes actually having been stolen during kind of like 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. time frame, which is bad. Don't ever lock your bike at night anywhere in public. It's bad. But during the day, no bad reports. We've had locks half cut through. We've had locks. We've got all sorts of examples of it working, basically. So the point is, part of the investment in a good electric bike is an investment in a good lock. It's going to cost you, $125. But they're amazing. They're built to be amazing. And so you can indeed lock your bike anywhere in San Francisco. I ride a bike that costs about $8,000. I don't have a car, which means I have to be able to lock it everywhere, whether it's a meeting or a movie or a dinner, whatever. And I have to not be like sweating bullets the whole time. And
you don't want to think about it.
No sweating bullets.
Zero
like bad.
mental energy is spent on. It was when I first got it. But you were the one that told me, get the Abbas lock. And again, I told you I was cheap at the beginning of this
he really was.
thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, do I really have to spend $100? I felt like I was getting upsold in one of those no, you can have fries with this. I was like, I don't want the fries. I just wanted the burger. But the Abbas lock it really, peace of mind completely went. Because now Phoebe and I would go to the movies. The last thing I want to think about in the middle of the movie is having being taken out of the moment by, oh gosh, I wonder if my $8,000 bike just walked. The Abbas lock for me is what gave me the peace of mind. I was just I don't even think about it anymore, which is a lovely feeling to have in the, middle of Tenderloin Financial District at 7 p.m.
Yeah, or 9.
Or 9.
Or 11, but not 3 a.m. Yeah.
Nothing good happens after 3 a.m.
It's actually true. Yeah. No, great question. Anything else out there?
Is anybody going to make an adult bicycle?
Such a good question.
Great question.
I wish I had an answer you wanted to hear. What's that? Yeah, not one that I would highly recommend. There are companies that make them. There's 2 things about so a tricycle is, if it's a stable tricycle, is not very stable. If it's a fixed triangle of wheels, it's very tippy, and you can fall over very easily. If it oscillates at the front, it's very stable, but it's stable in the riding of it, but it's not as stable in stasis when you're stopped, which is why many people want a tricycle. So there is a company in Copenhagen which makes a great cargo tricycle called Butchers and Bicycles. It is the one that I would recommend. That is really the only one that I would recommend. It's an engineering dream. The motor that they put on it right now is not really new wheel approved. It's a little too low power, which is one of the main reasons we don't carry it. So, well, I thought that was really great. Thank you all for all your time. Whether your commute is long or short, it's a commute, and get out of the car. Ride a bike. It'll be fun.
All right.